everything right, it was you and me.
Hi guys. We're in my living room. Okay, I wanted to try something new because you guys saw my bedroom in my books I brought to college video, and then also my September TBR, but you didn't see like all of it. And I was like, you know what if I sat in the living room today? So I'm here like a talk show host, and I am super excited because today I'm going over all the books that I read in July and August. I didn't end up filming a July wrap up because my July was crazy, and I think I read probably like 3 books in July, which we will get into. So I wanted to just do like a recent reads where I talk about everything that I read in July and August. Guys, in August I read so many good books. I am so excited to sit down and talk to you guys about them today. I also want to hear everything that you guys have been reading in comments, so make sure to let me know. Tell me about all the amazing books you read, because I know you guys have been, and put me on because I always need more recommendations. But yeah, let me know if you guys like this vibe or not. I don't really know how I feel about it because the lighting in here is not the best. There is no like ceiling lights in the living room because we live in a city, and so we have like a lamp and also the window. And because I'm by the window, and I told you guys I live on a very busy street, you might hear just loud ass music playing or cars just rushing by and being annoying or honking. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know if you guys like this or not. I'm not sure if I do, but I feel like it could be a vibe, potentially. I'm holding on. Also, guys, me and my roommate are throwing our first party in this apartment tonight, and I'm honestly very stressed out. So if I seem a little bit anxious during this video, that is why. I'm like low-key shaking. I'm just really nervous, but I'm very excited. We wanted to throw parties in like our apartment with like close friends and stuff, but this party, we live in a pretty small apartment, and so we accidentally invited a lot of people. So I'm just really nervous, and these walls, I'm pretty sure all of our neighbors will be able to hear everything. So that's exciting. Yeah, we're gonna start off with all the books that I read in July, which is only 2 or 3 books, and then also all the books that I have read in August. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The first book that I read in July is 𝓼𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪 by Sam Mariano, and I actually recommended this book in my toxic romance recommendation video, the one that I did like the collab with Release. And this book was freaking insane. When I tell you guys to look into the trigger warnings, I'm usually just kind of saying it because there might be something that triggers you, obviously. But like this one, I'm demanding that anybody who picks up this book looks into the triggers, because I went in so blind, and luckily I didn't have any triggers in this book, but I did go in very blind, and I don't want you guys to make that mistake, same as me. But anyways, 𝓼𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪 by Sam Mariano is a stalker romance, sociopath or psychopath hero, and just honestly just so crazy. Like I can't even begin to describe this book, but I'll start off with the triggers. The triggers are rape, sexual assault, murder, blackmail, and toxic relationships. I'm pretty sure there's more, but for now, that's all I can really think about. I will say that this book is honestly so awful, and I'm fucking insane for enjoying it as much as I did. I read it when I was in Vancouver with some of my friends, and I started reading it there, and I was in the car whenever we were going somewhere or driving or road trips or whatever. I would just be reading, and then I'd be like, oh, I'm done, I'm putting down this book, and then my friends will look over and I'm like still reading. So it is very addicting, but it is like psychotic and unhinged and crazy. It is about our heroine, and our heroine was dating this guy, and they ended up breaking up. So what happened is, when they were dating, he brought her to his company like holiday party, and there she was instantly noticed by his boss and the owner of this company. He is like a billionaire or a millionaire. He's very wealthy. Because they were dating, this guy was like, I'll leave her alone. But then when they break up, he decides it's his time to shine and go in for the kill and make her obsessed with him as much as he's obsessed with her. So one night the heroine is out at a bachelorette party, and she is with her best friend, and she gets a call from her ex. Her ex is like, hey, can you come here? Like, come and help me with this. And she is such a sweet person that she's like, oh, I really don't want to have to do this, but I'm gonna go help him. And she does not know that she is not going to go help her ex-boyfriend. She's actually meeting up with her ex-boyfriend's boss. This guy literally assaults her instantly. I will say there is not like a consensual sex scene until like 75% into the book. From there, it's just SA and then also dubious consent. He becomes obsessed with her. They meet, he assaults her, and he literally will not let her go. Like, he literally will not let her go. Will kidnap her cat, like blackmailing her, changing her door so he can have a key to her place, having cameras all over her apartment, cloning her phone so he can see everything that she has on her phone. And he literally is like, okay, you have to go on 3 dates with me. He's blackmailing her. And then after the 3 dates are done and she's like, okay, well, this was the last date, like, I'm done. He's like, wait, no, what do you think you're doing? Like, you're not leaving. And so it's that kind of vibe. It's very scary. There is also like, he messes with her birth control and like a breeding kink going on there as well. And this book is honestly just insane. I rated it 4 stars. It was good, but I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. Like, I think you have to have a very specific taste to enjoy this book. I half liked it, half hated it. So yeah, it was good. It was a good time. It was really fucking scary and just bizarre. So be definitely aware of everything going on in this book before you pick it up. It was good, but it was like insane. So be careful. So the next book that I read in July was actually Good Gone Bad by 𝓵𝓸𝓬𝓬𝓲𝓪, and so many of you guys and so many of my friends have told me to pick up this series again and give it another try. So if you are new here and don't really know my relationship with 𝓵𝓸𝓬𝓬𝓲𝓪, I read her Dangerous Temptation duet and absolutely loved it. But then like way before, like in 2020, I think, I read the first one, which is I think Lessons in Corruption. I didn't like it as much. Like I wasn't really that into it. And then I read Welcome to the Dark Side and I really enjoyed that, but not enough to like just continue with the series. You guys have been hard pressing me to continue with this series, and so have all of my friends, and I finally decided to just do it. When I was in Vancouver visiting my friend Em, who has a channel, Em Reads Romance, she loves this series so much, and one of the reasons why is because it takes place in the Vancouver area. Like there's a highway that they live right off of called the Sea to Sky Highway, and it is beautiful, and there are mountains and just like the water, and it's like so scenic, and that's mentioned a lot in the books. And so when we went there, it was amazing. When we went there, she was like, yeah, this is in the books, like da-da-da. And so I was just feeling very like motivated to pick up this series again and try it, and I am so glad that I did, because I'm really liking how the series is progressing. And maybe it's because I was actually at these places that I can visualize it and like it even better. The hero Lion, he lives at Kits Beach, which we also went to, and Kits Beach is so cute and so beautiful, and just so imagining him like living in one of the houses off to the side of like the beach, like it's just such a good vibe. Whenever I think they go to Whistler, maybe we went to Whistler, so I don't know, I was just really enjoying my time reading this book. So Good Gone Bad follows Harley Rose, who is the daughter of Zeus Garrow. Zeus Garrow is the head biker in charge, like I don't know, he is the leader of the Fallen Men motorcycle club. And yeah, so it's his daughter and the sister of the guy in the first book. So Harley Rose is a girl who doesn't really 100% love being involved in the motorcycle club. She has gone through so much trauma with her dad, with her mom, with her brother, her childhood. She's just gone through a whole bunch of stuff, and ever since she was little, she has known this guy named Lion. So he is, I believe, like maybe 10 years older than her, possibly, potentially. And so he actually was there. They met on the worst day of her life, where something happened to her father. Ever since then, he's kind of been like her guardian angel. He'll be there to help her out. On top of that, he's a son of like the head cop, and so he also becomes a cop. And he's kind of like a dirty cop, I would say, because he does have his foot in helping like the MC club. Also, he's like an undercover cop for this other MC club. I can't give too much away about this one because it obviously is a whole series and I don't want to spoil anything, but basically it's really good. These two are infiltrating another MC club that is very dangerous and who is trying to take down her family's MC club. So she has to do a lot of things like behind closed doors, and she has to lie to her family a lot because she's at the end of the day ultimately trying to help her family and take down this MC club who is awful. I hate this MC club so much. They made my blood boil, but these two are definitely my favorite couples. It has a praise kink, which I love. I don't know, I just loved this couple so much. He is literally like her guardian angel. He has always been there with the, like, with one call, and he's there. Like that song by Charlie Puth, that is literally them, one call away. It was so cute. I love them so much. And there's just something about like a badass woman, like infiltrating different things and like being an undercover person. Like it's just so fun. Like that reminds me so much of Wretched by Emily McIntyre, and then also Mindfuck series by St. Abby. Like I just love it so much. It brings me life. So I really freaking enjoyed this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. I thought it was so good. And yeah, I'm excited to continue with the series. Okay, so naturally my camera died, so I'm sorry if the position has changed. But after I read Good, Gone, Bad, I skipped the second book in Crescent King's story and I just hopped into Inked in Lies. But so many people have told me, no, go back, like, it was so good. Go back and read that book in between Good, Gone, Bad and Inked in Lies. So I think I'm gonna do that since I finished Inked in Lies, which we will get into my thoughts of that very shortly. But yeah, I am really enjoying this series. I'm excited to continue. I'm excited to be excited with the rest of you guys. I hate having FOMO. Like, I just need to be in on what everybody's loving. That's my journey with the Fallen Men series, but I'm very excited to continue. And tell me what you guys think. Do you guys think it's okay if I just like skip that book, or if I should go back, read it, and then continue with the rest of the series? I want to know your thoughts. So after ApollyCon, I met Nina from Valentine PR, and she recommended to me Marnie Man, who is one of Valentine PR's clients. She said to give Marnie Man a chance, and so I did. Literally right after ApollyCon, I listened to The Lawyer by Marnie Man, and this is the first book in her Dalton Brothers series. And I gave this book 4.5 stars and rounded up to 5 stars on Goodreads. This book was so good and so hot, you guys, like so spicy. And I really enjoyed it. This book just was so catered to me because I love reality TV like so much. One of my guilty pleasures, I'm an avid Housewives watcher. I watch all of the different cities, and so I don't know, I haven't read that many romance books centered around like reality TV shows. This one was so good. So basically we have our heroine, and she just moves to LA because her sister needs an assistant. Her and her sister aren't the closest, but she is such a good sister that whenever she needs her, she's there, and she's willing to give up her entire life to become an assistant for her sister, who is a big reality TV show star. She moves to LA, leaves her life behind, and her sister is a raging biatch. Like, she is just so mean to her. One night she's out and she ends up meeting this guy, and that is our hero. They end up having a one-night stand and they just go about their ways. It was fun, it was a good time, but now she has to go work for her sister. So she goes to go meet her sister at this meeting that she's having with her lawyers. Do you see where I'm getting at here? Little does she know that the guy that she just hooked up with the night before is her sister's lawyer, is in this meeting. And so it's a bit awkward and funny at first. And Dominic kind of sees how she is being treated by her sister. And funny enough, right before they actually hooked up, his best friend is complaining because a reality show star just dropped out of this new show, and now he is in a pinch to find someone new for a show. Right away, he sees how she is treated by her sister, and he has a proposition for her, and he wants to make her famous. He's offering her a role on this TV show. It's perfect for her and her vibe. She ultimately accepts. This causes a lot of drama between her and her sister, because her sister's like, wow, like, you want to compete with me? Obviously these two shows are rivals. Like, you just are a horrible sister. And there's just a lot of turmoil and like a lot of emotions here. Actually, I did find myself getting very sad in this book. Honestly, such a good book. Like, I just loved the vibes, obviously, of the reality TV show. There's scandals, there's TMZ, there's bloggers who just like put these systems against each other. It's a really good vibe. There's like deceit with the producers and like all this stuff, and it's such a good vibe. But I just really loved this romance. He is her #1 protector. Like, he would always just be there for her. If she didn't want to do something, he'd be like, she doesn't want to do it. Somebody kind of like crosses the line and violates her, he'll stick up for her. Like, it was such a good romance. I loved it so much. and I would highly recommend it. And then I read the second book in the Dalton Brothers series, Billionaire by Marty Mann, and I also listened to this one on audio. These two are both on my Hoopla. Check to see if they're on yours if you're interested in like audiobook. The Billionaire is book number 2, and this follows the brother of Dominic from the first book. So both of these books kind of start off like with the same like one night stand vibe. So this book follows Jenner, and he has a one night stand with a girl he meets at a bar. They're actually both in Vegas, but he's from LA and she lives in Miami. Ever since this one night stand, they cannot get each other off their minds. Like, she is a senior and about to graduate, and she's excited to enter the workforce. He's like a top dog in his job field, and these two just like can't get each other off their minds. He'll make like the trip to Miami to come and visit her. She'll make the trip to LA and come and visit her, but she is keeping a secret from him. I'm not gonna say what, but it is good. It's not anything that really changes. That's anything crazy that a lot of people wouldn't like. I was fine with the secret, but yeah, basically they're trying to make this like long distance relationship work. They both really enjoy each other's company, and they love spending time with each other, and I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars. She gets a job offer to work for her father in LA where he lives, and that has like a big something, so there's something big with the plot with this. And yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars. I definitely liked The Lawyer, which is the first book, a lot more than this one, but I thought that this was a pretty solid book. Really enjoyed this romance. I thought it was really wholesome and cute, and like how much they wanted to see each other. And I don't know, it really did give kind of like a realistic factor. Not that everybody's gonna go and fall in love with a billionaire. I really liked just realistic romance books where like you can't see each other all the time, and like you have to make the effort. And I don't know, I thought this one was really good. I gave it 4 stars, and I'm excited to read more books in the Dalton Brothers series. And then I read Ignite by Melanie Harlow, and this is the 6th book in the Cloverleaf Farm series. My friend Em loves this series and this world. So there's like the first series, and that's all of the parents of the kids in the second series, in the Cloverleaf Farms series, I believe. So Ignite follows the daughter of the couple from the first book, which I believe is called like Irresistible by Melanie Harlow. I saw somebody recommending it on TikTok, and you guys know how I am with TikTok recommendations, but this one just sounded so good to pass up. So we have a firefighter hero, ex-marine or something like that, ex-military, is a single father. He has 2 little girls. His relationship with his ex-wife did not work out. So now he is a firefighter after working for the military. This is a romance between 2 neighbors. I love neighbor romances so much. And then we have our heroine. So this guy and his daughters just moved into this townhouse, and their next door neighbor, a very young, pretty girl. And so right away, his daughters like love her so much. They'll find any reason to come over and see her, and they don't get off on the right foot at first because he is very grumpy. It's also Grumpy Sunshine. She just really wants to be like a welcoming neighbor and just super sweet, and he's kind of like, why are you here? Like, this is not my vibe. One day she's showering and her fire alarm goes off. Obviously he's a firefighter, and he rushes into her house and like is there to help, but there was no fire, and also she was butt naked, seeing how she was in the shower and the smoke alarm went off. He comes rushing in and sees her naked. Ever since then, he can't really get her off of his mind, and then vice versa, she finds him very attractive, and like she's kind of just like, should I just like go for it? She's talking to all of her friends. She's like, should I just go for it and hook up with him and just have like a friends with benefits situation? And so she does, and they do, and they have a friends with benefits situation. It's supposed to be very casual, but when she gets a job offer to move, there is some troubles in the relationship. He might not want her to go. He might actually have a lot more feelings than he's putting out there, and it is so good. It is so cute. His relationship with his daughters made me swoon so much, and I just love seeing like a single father and his kids like fall in love with a new wife or girlfriend, and it's so cute. It's so good. I really enjoyed this one, and I gave it 4 stars. And then I read Blindsided by Candy Steiner, and this one is for sure one of my favorite books of the entire year thus far. I gave this book 5 stars. It was so good. So this is actually a sports romance, a college romance. This follows Clay. Clay and his long-term girlfriend just broke up. He has been so in love with her for so many years, and when he goes away to college, because I believe he's a year older than her, he's like still wants to make the relationship work. The book starts with the beginning of a football season, in the beginning of the school year. Now his ex-girlfriend goes to his school. She's on the cheer team, so they're always around each other, and he is just devastated by this breakup. Like, he was so in love with her, she broke up with him, and now he has to see her face 24/7. So naturally, he's not very happy about this. Our heroine, 𝓵𝓐𝓬, she is a PR assistant, which I love this book so much because that is my major. She is in charge of getting the players interviews, ESPN and different journalists and things like that. Clay is currently making 𝓵𝓐𝓬's life not so easy. He used to be a kid who like will just go and do any interviews, who was actually like a team player and just really wanted to help 𝓵𝓐𝓬 out. But ever since the breakup, he's just been kind of like depressed, not wanting to talk to press at all. And she's like, okay, we need to work something out here. So 𝓵𝓐𝓬 tells him to meet her at a coffee shop and they can work out some type of agreement. He goes to meet her at this coffee shop and he instantly notices that 𝓵𝓐𝓬 is looking at the guy who's performing at this coffee shop, like with his guitar and singing. And he's like, this is interesting. And these two are kind of friends, but not really. They're friendly enough because they did have a whole season together beforehand. So he sees that she really wants to get his attention, that she's not really putting herself out there, and he decides to hatch a plan to fake date. Clay is going to help 𝓵𝓐𝓬 with this guy and fake date him so she can get his attention. And then Clay really wants her help to get his ex-girlfriend back. I loved this book so much. I thought it was so good, and because honestly the relatability factor, 𝓵𝓐𝓬's a virgin. She's never had a boyfriend before. She's never been in love before. She loves to read romance books. Her major is PR, and so I don't know, I could really relate to her. I really enjoyed this one, and honestly it's definitely one of my favorites of the entire year. To decide to fake date, they have the little, you know, like that classic fake dating scene where it's like, should we practice kissing, this and this? And so somewhere along the way they realized that they're not really faking anymore, that they actually genuinely do like spending time with each other. There's also a little scene where she realizes that the guy that she wants is very experienced and she's not, so there's also like lessons in seduction there. I don't know, this was just such a good book, and I before wasn't the biggest fan of 𝓵𝓬𝓬𝓷 Steiner just because I had only read her series. I think it's called like the Palm University series or something like that, and I didn't really enjoy the first book, so I never really gave 𝓵𝓬𝓬𝓷 Steiner another chance. But I'm so glad that I did. Like, this book was so good. If you're not listening to me at all today, listen to this because I loved this book and it was so good, and I would highly recommend it. And I love a sports romance, and I don't know, I just could really plug myself into 𝓵𝓐𝓬's life. That made me enjoy it even more, and I highly recommend it. And then I read Inked in Lies by 𝓵𝓐𝓬, and this is, I believe, the 5th book in her Fallen Men series. I gave this one 4.5 stars, and this follows 𝓼𝓸𝓬𝓬 and Nova. So 𝓼𝓸𝓬 and Nova, foster brother and sister, they're foster brother and sisters. He has been, this is another like guardian angel situation. Honestly, I recognize that's a trend in 𝓵𝓐𝓬's books. There's always like the older guy who is always there to help, who cares so much about the heroine, and they just kind of give like guardian angel vibes. That's the vibe that this book gave. 𝓼𝓸𝓬, this also has the unrequited love situation because 𝓼𝓸𝓬 has been in love with Nova since she was a child. Like, there has been a certain time in her life that she can just remember loving him, and she loves him intensely. Nova is a playboy. He will go out and hook up with tons of people. He's also a tattoo artist, which is like so hot. He gives her tattoos all the time. He's a playboy, and he just has never looked at 𝓼𝓸𝓬 that way because he considers her to be just like a pure angel who just like he has always been there for. She's very much in love with him, and that's honestly all I'm gonna say about this book because I don't want to give it away, and honestly it all just continues with each other, and so it's hard to talk about it. But I really like this book. It's probably my 3rd favorite in the series, first being Zeus, then Harley Rose, and then 𝓼𝓸𝓬, I believe. But yeah, I really enjoyed them so much. I thought the story was so good. This is also kind of another like infiltrating story because she is going undercover a lot and putting herself in danger in order to protect the people that she loves, which is the Fallen MC Club, which Nova is a part of. 𝓼𝓸𝓬 is just kind of like the girl who's always around, and it's not normal for them because you have to be like an old lady, as in like the girlfriend or wife of one of the brothers. You're not really like involved, but she's not like an old lady. She's just considers them all family, and they consider her family. Like, I love the found family trope so much, and I really enjoyed this book. And then I read Pestilence by 𝓼𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪. This is the first book in the Four Horsemen series, and I read this after Polycon and loved it so much because I met her. I was like, well, now that I met you, I have to read your book. Like, I have to. And I'm so glad that I did. So this book follows Sarah Burns, and she's a firefighter. This book takes place where the world is kind of ending. There are these four horsemen who have come to Earth, and they are killing everybody, and people are scared for their lives. People have evacuated. There's like this plague that is spreading, and people are dying. Sarah decides that she's going to take a stand against these four horsemen. Right now, only Pestilence came to Earth, and Pestilence is the kind of like horseman who kills people, but like he just spreads a plague and then people die. Her and a group of other firefighters decide they're gonna hatch a plan to evacuate everyone in their area and then stay behind to attempt to kill him. They draw sticks in the beginning. Has to stay behind and fight Pestilence. Sarah draws the stick, and that means she is most likely gonna die. Little does she know, Pestilence cannot die. When she attempts to kill him and he doesn't die, he's one angry person. He comes for her, and now he decides he's going to take her along with her and make her life miserable and make her suffer and not show mercy, because she did not show mercy to him when she tried to kill him. And honestly, this book was just really pure for some reason. Like, I was like, at some points I was like, whoa, Pestilence is kind of like an asshole, which he is. He's killing all these people, and he is making Sarah suffer, but also at the same time it was so pure because like Pestilence isn't from Earth, and he doesn't know a lot of things, and he just has like this view of human. I really like 𝓼𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪's writing. I love the way that she made it so Pestilence actually was talking about things that were wrong with humans, and I was like, this is so true. But obviously like the answer isn't to kill everyone. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was so good. There was some steam towards the end of the book, but he is also a virgin, so it was a bit like really just wholesome and really good. I'm so excited to read War, which is the second horseman. He comes to Earth and then like does his thing. I don't really know what his thing will be yet, but it should be. I heard that it's a lot spicier and a lot steamier, and War actually has experience, so I don't know. I'm intrigued. I'm interested. I really enjoyed it, and I loved Pestilence's like redemption. Thought it was so good, and how he decided to make things right. Like, I just loved it so much. And I don't really read like apocalyptic romances, kind of like fantasy romances, but this one was really good. And then I read Flawless by Elsie Silver, which is another favorite of the year so far. This was so like just so good, guys. Like, I know I said this for Blindside, but I'm taking it back, because if you are gonna listen to me at all today, it needs to be to read Flawless, because guys, I loved it so much. There's a reason why it hit #1 in the entire Kindle store. I love this book, and it is so hyped for such a good reason. And you guys know I'm not the biggest, like, I don't really read like cowboys. I don't really read any like, you know, just vibes like that, but like I think I'm gonna start, because this was so good, you guys. Like, I will never be able to get over how good it was. This book follows our hero, and he is a professional bull rider. He's very famous. He has tons of sponsors, and he's well known and liked by everyone. That is until there is a viral video of him saying that he hates milk. It goes public, and people are pissed. They hate him, and the reason why is because he lives in Canada, and he lives in this kind of like farming, rurally area, and he's basically, people are pissed, and he's like, why? Like, I don't understand. All I said was that like I just don't like milk. And it's because a lot of people, their livelihood is milking cows and selling milk, and like, I don't know, I guess people were pissed off because they felt like he was not appreciative of all the hard work that his community does in the, you know, farming industry, agriculture industry. People are very mad at him. Sponsors are pulling out. Things are not good. People are not happy. And he's like, okay, like all I said was that I didn't like milk. His agent is too happy with him. So his agent decides that he needs to have a babysitter. Funny enough, his agent's daughter just started working for his company. He decides to task his daughter with the job of babysitting Rhett, who is the hero, and making sure that he does nothing else to further damage his career. There's no more hooking up with girls, there's no more partying super crazily and being on tabloids. You have to have a squeaky clean image so more people don't drop out of their sponsorships. Obviously, Red is not too happy about this because he is a grown man and he's like, I don't need a babysitter. Obviously, at first, he is not happy about this situation at all. He kind of resents the heroine. I don't like you, but I love this book. Like the forced proximity, they live together in the same house, and the vibes in here were just so good. It's also a small town romance. Rhett, he lives with his dad, brother, and they all live on like this farm, and it's just such a good vibe, like all around. They like to horseback ride and play pranks on their neighbors, and like it's just such a good vibe. Like that's how I can describe it. Like I love this book for so many reasons. Like, and also this book was steamy and so hot and spicy, and like I'm just not really a cowboy type of girl, but this one did it for me. Like about cowboys and like this story, like he was such a gentleman, even though he did not like the situation and he didn't like what was going on and how he had to have a babysitter. He was still making sure that she was okay and safe, and he would open car doors for her, and whenever they're walking like on sidewalk, he does the sidewalk rule where he like pulls her away from oncoming traffic. Like it was just so good. Everything about this, I can't express enough how much I love this book. Like it was so hot, it was so steamy. It starts off with like a little bit of hate to love, but there's obviously like attraction there. The small town vibes, everything about it, like him just being like such a gentleman, just I love. Like I can't recommend this book enough. It's one of my favorites of the entire year, and the second book is coming out like literally 2 days before my birthday, and so excited. Like I'm so excited. It's gonna be so good. It's the oldest brother who is a single dad and the heroine's best friend from the first book. So yeah, I'm ecstatic. Like it's gonna be so good, and I have a feeling that Elsie Silver is going to be one of my favorite authors for sure, because there's just something about the way that she writes. Like it's magical. So I highly recommend this book. Even if you don't think like cowboys are your vibes, bull riders are your vibe, like just give it a chance, because there's a reason why I hit #1. There's a reason why so many people love it, including myself. And yeah, it was so good. And then I read All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover, and I rated this book 4.5 stars. All Your Perfects is probably the book that I wanted to read the most by Colleen Hoover when I first like started reading her in 2020. And honestly, I just love a good marriage in trouble, and so I knew that I had to read this book at some point, and so I did in August, and it was amazing, guys. Like I don't think I've cried more in a book ever. Like I was crying every single chapter while reading this book. It was so beautiful. Like Colleen Hoover's writing, like there's nothing like it, and honestly there's nothing like a good Colleen Hoover cry when you're just sobbing to her book. This one was it was beautiful, you guys, and so sad, and just like it really made me think. Like it's definitely one of my most annotated books. Everything that she said I highlighted, everything that he said I highlighted. Beautiful quote I highlighted and tabbed and underlined. Like it was beautiful. This is obviously a marriage in trouble. We go back and forth a lot between the past and the present, how they met, how their relationship started, how it was in the beginning when they got married. It flips back and forth from now, where they are not happy with each other. She is in love with him, but she's still not happy. All because of fertility issues. I am gonna put that in here as like a trigger warning. So trigger warning for that. This book is incredibly sad. When are you and Graham gonna start having children? And she has to like smile and be like, you know, like it just was so beautiful. And it really made me think, because I would never think like, oh, you need to kind of be careful whenever you ask people questions. It just really made me think a lot about what people are going through. And I don't know, I found this book so beautiful. You get to see people fall in love again and work on the relationship. There's just nothing like a marriage in trouble or a marriage in crisis. Like there's nothing like it. Like I love this book, and I'm telling you guys, I sobbed every single chapter back to back to back. Like this book really hit me hard, but it was so beautiful, and I would highly recommend it. So I gave this one 4.5 stars. And then I read Fair Catch by Candy Steiner, and this is actually the first book. I think it's like a bunch of standalones, not really in a series, but obviously it's just like the same world and the same characters and the same sports team. So Fair Catch is like the book 1 where you first meet Clay from Blindside and Gianna from Blindside. Focuses on Riley and Zeke. Riley has a twin brother, and ever since he was little, he has always wanted to play football, and he has played football, and he just loves the sport so much. He's the biggest football fan. Something happens when they're in high school, which leaves her brother not able to play football anymore. Something happens because of her twin brother's best friend, Zeke, who is the hero of the story. Ever since this thing happened and her brother isn't able to play football anymore, Riley has hated Zeke with like a burning passion. She's like, you ruined my brother's life, like how dare you. Her brother has forgiven Zeke and they are good and they're still best friends, but Riley has never been able to move past it. Riley actually made a promise to her twin brother. Thing happened, she made a promise to him to play football in his honor and continue to play and go as far as she possibly can for him, because he can't do it anymore. This has taken her pretty far. I mean, she's now playing football for a college, a very good college, and she is the kicker. Her brother's best friend, Zeke, is also on the team. Really amazing. It starts off with a K to love, has like roommate romances, brother's best friend. Like the tropes in here were so good, and they're on the same team. So it's like she's the only girl on the team, and so she has to deal with like comments that are very degrading and just not good. And Zeke will come in and protect her, and she'll get mad at Zeke for protecting her because she doesn't like him. They're also roommate. Like there's just so many amazing tropes in here, and I loved it all. I thought it was so good. Zeke really had to work for her forgiveness. And then there's also like a little bit of a tutor romance in there as well. Been in love with him when she was a child, but ever since he did that thing, like she just can't get past it. And they have to really talk and like work out their issues, and she has to realize that it was an accident, a mistake, and not to blame him anymore. Like there's the tropes in here were so good. Back to back to back, and then you'll start reading, you're like, oh, this is another trope that I love. Like I just love this series so much by 𝓼𝓸𝓬𝓲𝓪. Both of them were so amazing, and the smut in here was great as well, like just so hot. There was like a third act breakup because something happens that isn't very good, but I didn't mind it as much because I thought honestly it was a pretty good third act breakup, and there was a good reason why. So I just really enjoyed the series, and I'm loving her sports romances. And the third book is about to come out soon, and that is another player on the team, and I am very excited because it is like coach's daughter, or owner of the team's daughter, and it's forbidden and supposed to be really good, and there's like some hot and cold based on the little short scene we got to read from it. Say that I am excited is saying the very least, because this book is going to be amazing. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed Fair Catch. I think you should give it a try. I will say I did enjoy Blindside more, probably because of like the relatability. But yeah, it was a great book. So many amazing tropes, and the vibes were there. And then I read Frayed by Laura Pavlov, and this is another book that was recommended to me by Nina, and this is a small town romance. Their senior year of high school, and we have our heroine, and she is very much girl next door, good girl, classic beauty, very popular in this small town. Her family's very rich and powerful and wealthy, and it's her senior year. And I really enjoyed this book because of the vibes. She has like 4 or 5 other best friends, and they have been best friends since literally when they were babies. They've just grown up together in this small town. They have like this big book with all their memories, and they can write down, and they're about to start their senior year, and they decided that this year they are going out with a bang. It's going to be an amazing year. And our heroine has a boyfriend. Is not the best boyfriend in the world. Us readers realize that, but she doesn't. He does some shady stuff that is definitely red flags that we're kind of like reading, and we're like, that is not totally the best. He's not the hero. The hero is this guy that she has known again since childhood, and he was nobody really liked him all throughout growing up until he got to high school, and he was a star player on their school's football team. And this is a small town in Texas, and everybody loves football in Texas, so naturally they started to like him. Everybody started to like him and accept him, but he's definitely from like the wrong side of the tracks. His mom got pregnant with him at like in high school, and she works at a diner, so he's often judged a lot. These two become partners in a class, and they become super close. They're always working on their homework together, and they just start getting entwined in each other's lives more and more. And when her boyfriend does something that is very unforgivable, Hero is there, and he takes care of her and he looks out for her, and I honestly just really love the vibe of this book, and I'm very excited to continue with the series. I thought it was very nostalgic, and I feel like if I read it like in high school or middle school, like I would be striving to have these people's lives. Like they will go to a lake and go cliff jumping in this small town, and there's like these rituals that you do your senior year, and I don't know, I just really enjoyed it so much. I just love a small town, and especially that they were in like seniors in high school, and I don't know, I just felt really like sad and nostalgic to see them all like, you know, say goodbye and get ready for the next phases of their life. Even though this was the first book in a series, I felt like I was in this story for so much longer than just one book. Like I felt like I have seen her grow and go through things with her best friends and her boyfriend. Like it was just so amazing, and I would highly recommend this, especially in the fall. Like this just gives such small town fall vibes, back to school vibes, which I have a recommendation video coming for that trope in particular very soon. Enjoy this book, and I would definitely recommend it, especially for now. Like I feel like this is the time to read this book. And the last book that I read in August was Eyes on Me by Sarah Kate, and this is the second book in the Salacious Players Club. And I gave this book 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. I think I might have enjoyed it a little more than Praise, which is the first book, which I did not think was possible at all. This series has been blowing up. Everybody has been talking about it, and for good reason. I would definitely recommend it. Eyes on Me follows one of the owners of the Salacious Players Club, which is kind of like a sex club where like people with like-minded kinks can get together and rent a room, and like there's something for everyone. All the kinks out there, there is something for you. And so yeah, this club is basically for people to not feel judged and who can meet people with like-minded kinks, and they can have fun. I need to be careful. These walls are thin. Like I'm honestly scared that my neighbors can hear everything that I'm saying. That's worrisome. We have Eyes on Me, which follows one of the owners of the club, and he has not had sex in many years, which is kind of like, wait a minute, how do you own this sex club and you have not had sex? Step sibling relationship. It is an age gap. It is virgin heroine trope, and honestly, it was just so good. The heroine is a cam girl. She decided that she kind of likes being watched, and she kind of likes doing things for money and making connections, and she is having fun doing this. Her stepbrother stumbles on to her live cam recording, whatever, I don't know, and he is so taken aback and like jarred, like what the heck, I would never have thought that she would do this. She's so sweet, she's so innocent, she's this and this. Also, these two very much have like a very bantery relationship. They don't really like each other. They kind of do though. They just have like, they just like to like battle it out a lot. Their parents got married and they have never fully like vibed. After he sees her, he cannot get her off of his mind. Like he decides to start messaging her. So this also does have the you've got mail trope. He's messaging her under the guise of being someone else. So they have like a texting relationship, but she doesn't know that she's texting her stepbrother. But also in person, they start to form kind of a closer and deeper connection. There's obviously sexual attraction there. And yeah, I can't give too much away. Like this book was really good. I think I enjoyed it more than Praise, like I said, and I don't know, I really did enjoy it. I know tons of people liked it too, better than Praise. Some people feel weird about like the whole step sibling relationship. I don't really personally mind it, but I thought this book was so hot. Really enjoyed it. So I would highly recommend this one for a good time. Like I'm excited to read more. Some of the kinks in Sarah Kate's like other books, I don't know, they're not that like attractive to me, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and read them anyways and just give them a try, because I wasn't necessarily like intrigued or interested in like the cam girl eyes on me situation, like to be watched, but I could tolerate it, like, you know, and now I like ended up really enjoying that book. But some of the other tropes and kinks, I'm just kind of like, do I care about that? I'm not sure. So we're gonna have to see, but I mean, I'm really enjoying this series so far. Let me know what your favorite book in this series is. I'm very curious because I feel like everybody has just different favorites in here, but I did hear that as you keep going, like the books just keep getting better and better, which is very exciting because the 2 books that I've read so far were amazing. That was the last book that I read in August. I hope you guys enjoyed this recent reads video. I want to know all the books that you guys have been recently reading and loving and enjoying. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I love you so much, and I will see you very shortly with a new one. Bye.
If I got one thing right, it was you and me.